The XRP switch was publicly flipped by SBI Holdings and a few other groups. That and some other great news will be talked about when we talk about the world money supply. It's that simple. The markets are always doing well when the money supply is high. People have more money to invest when the economy has more money moving around. This causes stock prices and cryptocurrency prices to totally explode. And well, there's something really interesting going on with the money supply right now. And I want to show you a quick picture that will pretty much outline what I mean. This is a chart of the M2 money supply rise since 2000. It shows the amount of money in circulation. And I think it's pretty clear that there is a link between the amount of money in circulation and financial trouble. The two most important ones, this is the COVID-19 outbreak. As the markets took off and the money machine turned on, you can see that the amount of money in circulation went up by a huge amount. The same thing happened with the financial collapse of 2008. Right after that disaster, there was a big printer and the amount of money in circulation went through the roof. Not long after that, there was a huge drop because the Fed had to start quantitative tightening, which means raising interest rates because they produce so much money to lower inflation. Another way to say this is that the Fed is totally controlling the economy to help themselves by printing a lot of money. When there is gross inflation because the money supply is growing so quickly, they start quantitative tightening. This makes less money available, which causes stock prices to drop. In this way, they controlled the entire world economy. I also want to show you what came about right now. This was the United States will have the most money it has ever had after the 2020 outbreak. In 2020 and 2021, we reached our highest point ever. And of course, once we saw how crazy inflation was getting and the Federal Reserve started quantitative tightening, the total amount of money in circulation dropped by a huge amount. This went on for a long time, longer than any other time in the last 40 years, where it went down on this chart, which doesn't make sense. Since interest rates are going down, though, you can see that the money supply is beginning to rise again. We're now back to the numbers we had before the pandemic, which are about 5%. And if prices keep going up at the rate they are now, there will probably be a crazy bull run around the world, especially if the Federal Reserve decides to print more money, which I believe will happen at some point before the end of 2025. And in other words, this could very well make the bull run last longer if things go exactly the same way they did in 2008 and 2020. However, we still don't know for sure what the Federal Reserve will do because a lot of other things are happening at the same time, mostly Trump's taxes, all right? For now, I just want to show you what Trump's taxes have done to the markets. Is based on what the news says. So I'm going to show you what happens when Reuters says Trump was wrong when he said that 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico would be delayed because of sources. Right after that, this is what happens, right? Reuters reported yesterday or the day before that Trump was going to put off putting tariffs in place until March instead of February 1. Trump told the world, okay, so this is what happens to the markets after that. It's easy to see why the markets are very negative when there are taxes. Both sides of the trade deal that these tariffs touch will have to pay more for goods and services. These words mean that Mexico will have to raise the prices of the things they sell to the US in order to still make money, and the US will need some time to, why did they put up taxes in the first place? So that people would make things in their own country. Of course, that will take a few years. Putting a 10% tariff on all goods and services coming from Canada, Mexico, and now China is like putting a 10% tariff on all goods and services coming from those countries. You can't just open a factory overnight and start making things that you can't make now. This is especially true if you have a nationwide tariff. To make up for all the goods and services they will have to pay more for, the United States will have to spend billions of dollars on infrastructure and at least 2 years building a bunch of different factories. Also, people in the US will have to pay more for all of these things and services over the next couple of years, which will lead to some really strange experiences. I really don't know how this will impact the markets. On the one hand, you might think that paying more would decrease the amount of money in circulation, right? Customers will have less money and companies from Mexico, China, and Canada will get more money because they have to pay this tax. This is because they have to charge more for their goods and services. The government will also get more money. What makes us think that the government will be extra careful with this money? How can we be sure that all of these businesses will also be smarter with this money? We have never seen anything like this in modern history, and the world's economy is unclear because of it. So we still don't know how this is all going to turn out. Most experts think that it will just mean higher prices for everyone because businesses will have to charge more. They also think that it will take a few years for the US to start making things in their own country. We are going to watch how that goes. We don't know for sure because we don't have a lot of data from the past to really compare for national tariffs, at least not in the 21st century, right? It's going to be really cool. Having said all of that, there is a lot going on with XRP. I'd like to tell you some great news about what some founders, especially one founder at Arrington Capital, have shared about XRP. XRP is getting better and better as more people use it, which makes me very happy. Right now, I just want to quickly show you this clip. It's crazy how nationalism works in this business. There are Bitcoin maximalists, but everyone says that XRP is bad, and I don't understand it, right? They're a real business. They don't try to be something they're not, and they're great at one thing, moving money quickly and cheaply. And it's great. It meets a big need. It's also great that a hedge fund like ours can work with Ripple as a currency. I just did that myself. Our first close was done. As an XRP, we put more than $50 million into the company in what seemed like seconds. It cost 30 cents. Wow, that's really cool. With cash or Bitcoin, you can't do that. It can't be done that quickly and easily. In this way, it meets a very important need for us. Also, if our LPs ever want to cash out, hopefully never, we'll just send the money back to them in XRP instead of foreign wires, which take 3 days to arrive. Or wait 1 day for US wires. We're not going to pay these fees and such. That doesn't seem hard to understand to me. Putting aside the religion wars and tribalism, it does a lot of good things. That's why we love it. That being said, I'm not a special supporter of XRP just because we use it. They don't hire me. Our LP is not the business itself. These are some other people who have had XRP. I like them. They're great in my opinion. But at this point, they make up less than 5% of our assets. Like, we put money away. That's exactly what we want to hear, right? This person doesn't have any direct ties to XRP, but he uses it and the many services that Ripple provides because it helps his business and his clients in a way that no other coin or fiat centralized banking can. That's really cool. That's why I think XRP will be the future for a lot of different groups, especially those that provide liquidity, or other businesses like Arrington Capital that need to send big amounts of money quickly and cheaply. That service is very important, and it can be used in almost every other business in the world, especially in a world with lots of taxes. I mean, maybe cryptocurrency trades will be the way to get around tariffs. The US government can't do anything about it. Crypto, because it's a form of money, right? The money being used is not the US dollar anymore. It's a different one. So this is going to be a really interesting change in the global landscape. I think that a lot of countries will use crypto a lot more in the future. I'm really excited to see how this all turns out. And it's great to see big transactions going through the XRP ledger in a way that helps clients so much. I'd like to talk about SBI assets now because there are also a lot of really cool things going on there. This is on their main page. This came out on January 31. This is something I'm going to give you guys because I think it's cool. They'll be able to start offering services today, which means they'll be open for business on February 1st to February 6th for free. As we can see, SBI Remit is a company that started offering financial services for sending money back home to foreigners living in Japan in 2010. This was made possible by the Payment Services Act. In the US, we've been using the newest financial technologies like Ripple's distributed ledger technology to make international money transfers safe, cheap, and quick. Their main goal is to get this live and ready to go. Boom, this is really big. Mr. Kato, who is the head at SBI, is going to do great things for us, right? He is going to help us become more known on a global scale and show Japan and the rest of the world how great this is. As more people learn how much this helps Japan, more and more will join in. I also think the US will do it, since Ripple and XRP are both US-based companies. Also, that is really great news. I want to talk about one more thing. Ripple is about to become the World Bank, right? For everyone, right? This person at XRP Las Vegas brought up a really interesting point. I just wanted to show you this, just to give you an idea of how bullish this really is. Let's say that you own at least one XRP for every $100 billion that people have. What would that mean for the entity Ripple? It would mean that Ripple is the World Bank. But what does that mean for people in the audience who might not be bullish? Involve yourself in the